I cannot say silent any longer. I can't. I don't even know how to process this yet. I don't even know. I don't know what to think about this. I don't know even how. I don't even know. I don't even know if this is a fucking joke. If they think they're funny and they're cute. I don't know. I am talking about Gypsy Rose and fucking Brie. Okay? Doing their little tour of their little lives. They keep popping up everywhere. What happened to Sheena? She getting cut out a little bit? She being punished? She being punished? Right? Because there's a whole bunch of people now in my corner trying to, everything we can, we're going to expose about Gypsy, down to the nitty gritty, all the minutia, everything we can find out. And I'm just going to report it. I'm not doing lifting a finger. I'm just going to report things. And this is all Sheena's fault. Any of this extra shit that Gypsy's getting now is all Sheena's fault for fucking with me. Because my people are like, look, if we dig into her past, big deal. What can we find worse than her beating an elderly woman, her landlady, about the head and shoulders? And then in order to not only give her the rent money, that was the ploy for them coming over, right? To get there, right? Well, we'll come on like the second or the third when, the rent's due on the first and everyone's late, but a lot of people pay and that lockbox should be pretty good right then, right? You get the deal, right? Beat her about the head and shoulders and shattered her skull and took all of the rent monies. It's also come to my attention that she stole her jewelry too, but they could never prove it. She never was even really charged with it. They couldn't prove it. It was, right? I guess, family members, friends, I don't know, said all this jewelry was missing, whatever. I guess she knew not to pawn it in that tri-state area. She knows what I'm talking about. She knows what I'm talking about. What a shame. What a shame, Sheena. Anyway, I can't stay silent about this. Brie and Gypsy in a live. Gypsy Rose Blanchard is comparing herself to Jesus. I don't even know how to take that. I'm having difficulty digesting this one. And the whole while she's saying, I'm not comparing myself to Jesus. I'm not the whole time while she's literally, not even just literally comparing herself to Jesus. With Bree sitting there, I know in astonishment and just utter fucking like, wow, what did I sign up for here? She said it. Oh, she kept. I'm not. As she's comparing herself to Jesus. This is what this crazy Looney Tunes motherfucker fixed her mouth to say. Listen to me now. It's the same thing. Jesus wouldn't admit that he was the Messiah, and that's all he had to do. But he wasn't going to lie because he's Jesus. It's the same thing. My mother was not a good mother. My mother was not a good mother. I don't know. And I'm not going to lie about that. Now, this bitch will lie about every goddamn thing else. She is perpetuating a grand fraud scheme of faking an entire pregnancy and still talking about she's got a baby, using her niece as a prop. But she cannot falter from that truth. Does that make sense to you? When this bitch lies about everything and gets caught in one over and over with everything. But she's going to stand firm because she has to. This motherfucker has to. She has to, because they're about to show how she manipulated that man, Nick, for so long, slowly and methodically, giving love and pulling away and doing all these games. We're going to see it. And we're going to see that it wasn't because of Mama doing all these things with her. She could come and go as she pleases, all this, because she was plotting and planning and scheming, because if she got her out of the way, she had that fucking full reign of that house. Because if you think, as she was an adult already, and now she's a poor Katrina victim, and you know the next day, if she would have pulled this off, the next day she would have hopped in that wheelchair and played the little retarded girl victim again. And they would have given her that fucking house, and you know it. There's no way they're going to rip that house out from under her. Already an adult, a survivor of Hurricane Katrina, and now her mother's been murdered, and she had to take her own boyfriend in self-defense because he turned on her mother and then was turning on her and tried to rape her. That was the plan. And somehow this dumb bitch fucked that up too. She would have had that house and she could have wilded out and had all the dick she wanted. All the dick she wanted. Because she was running through that Vision Con like dick was going out of style. Now, if she had that fucking house, not only can they traffic children and make all the money they want, probably push drugs through there too, who knows what, right? But most of all for Gypsy, it could be a fucking dick buffet in that motherfucker, right? 2, 3, 4 at a time. It don't matter. It don't matter to Gypsy. She's not discriminate. She doesn't care. 8 to 80, blind, crippled, or crazy. If they can't walk, this motherfucker will drag them. And this is what we're dealing with here. So she repeatedly tries to compare herself to Jesus as she's saying, but I'm not comparing myself. Yeah, this is what you... So finally what happens? Finally what happens, right, is her Savior jumps in, right? Thank God for Cunty Rose, right? That her loyal lieutenant, fucking Agent Estradiol, was there to try to jump in with the life preserver, right? Throw her a life raft, right? When Bree detected, Bree knew, this is irretrievably fucked. Gypsy is not equipped to get herself back out of this one. Gypsy cannot back this heavy machinery up out of here. She can't. So Bree had to jump in, right? To try to save her. Bree knew, right? We know. Do we know about Bree's past? Right? Did we know that she was in front of churches trying to preach the gospel? Off doing missionary work in India. We know the parable of the prodigal son. It's actually the parable of the wayward son, but they like to say prodigal son. I believe it's in the book. It's in the New Testament, in the book of Luke. They always come back to their roots. Now, I don't know about Bree as far as, well, was Bree just in like some kind of regular non-denominational church or something, got hooked up with and did some missionary work, or was she doing her missionary work? Meaning, is she LDS? Was she a Mormon? I'd like to know that. If anyone knows in the comments below, is D, not that it matters. I'm not going to bash anyone for their religion. You cannot help what you're born into. Our Father didn't intend on any religions. I hope everyone knows that. There's not a correct religion. He didn't intend on any of them. They're all man-made of this world. But I'd like to know, was that her missionary work? The 18 months she's got to put in of slave labor once they finish high school and before they go to college? Or, wait, or maybe it's, I think, no, excuse me. After they complete college, they do it. And then they're supposed to go married and start breeding. So, was it that? Was it? Not that it matters. I'm just curious. But either way, it kicked in. Kicked in. You go back to your roots. You always go back to your roots. Bree knows there's a God, our Father. Bree knows there's a Jesus. Bree also knows that Jesus is going to return. Probably sooner than she knows. And it's awfully, and she knows more than all of them in that group. And it's odd to me and sort of troubling how reckless she is in her word. Just flippantly calling a man you don't even know at all. Legit crazy. This guy's, we've been digging into him. He's for real crazy. Thought you'd be a little, I would think you'd be a little more prudent than that, Bree. That's a whole nother video. So Bree swings into action to protect Gypsy with this. What happens? She had to think fast. She had to think fast. She knew this was going south. She's comparing herself to Jesus over and over while saying, I'm not comparing myself to Jesus. Bree knows. She's going, oh, fuck. What does she do? The only thing she knows to do. And show her true nature, and she jumps to a trans analogy. A trans analogy. She says, no, it's like trans people that are just walking around being killed just for being true to who they are. No, that's not true. My wife is a mental health counselor. I've told you guys that. I say she's a shrink, but she's not a psychiatrist. She's a mental health counselor. I still call her a shrink. She works very closely with the trans community. In fact, she calls herself a trans ally. All right? I know what time it is. Okay? No trans people are getting killed or beat up because of who they are. No. The ones getting beat up and killed are the ones doing something called sniping, where they get all dressed up in makeup and look like women, and they pass and they go out to the bars at 2 or 3 in the morning when the men are drunk, so drunk, their face feels numb and out to here. And then they want to take them home, but they don't disclose that they're actually a man down there. And then when the guy is drunk and thinks he's going to reach down there, and find the usual, you got a big old hard dick instead. And you're supposed to just overlook that. Well, you liked me in the bar, and you liked it was the person. No. What do you mean the person? We're not on a date or anything, right? This has nothing to do with anything like that, right? My wife told me, those are the people getting beat up and killed. The ones that are trying to trick people. She said, and also, a lot of them do in domestic violence situations, in a relationship. And they might be with this regular or another trans person. She says, those are real messy. So no trans people are getting killed just because they're truth of who they are. That's bullshit. That's a stupid analogy. And then the other one she jumped to is, or they're killing themselves. That's not true either. That's the sick thing that they tell parents when they drag their kids in there because they want to mutilate their genitals and they want to give them hormones and they want to stop their puberty because they're sick, evil fucks. That's the first thing they tell them. Well, you want a dead son or an alive daughter? And Bree latches right onto that sick trans ideology. Latches right onto it. And that's how I know for sure now. She's not just a handler. She's one of them too. She's also an evil motherfucker Luciferian because she's trying to cram that trans ideology down our throat.